going to go till 4 o'clock. We'll see how it goes. And
good morning. I think, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
My wife's the first to remind me that I have a large mouth, so I don't think I need the mic. They're just gonna put up some more chairs while I'm speaking. Who's heard of Harry Houdini? Who knows Harry Houdini, right? Great escape artist. At one point in his career, he called himself Handcuff Harry. His name was originally Henri Weiss, I believe. He was from Hungary. But the first thing people think of when they think of Harry Houdini is escape. And escape, to me, really ties in with recovery. And I'm going to ask, I've got a couple volunteers who are going to come up here and give me a hand.
We were drafted.
Now, looks like a nice, pretty package, doesn't it? But all too often, things that look like they're in pretty packages aren't actually so pretty with what they're going to do to our lives. So Sandra and Marshall, if you come up, and I've got some ropes, 2 or 3 jumps of rope here. I'll get you to start. We'll start with this arm. Now I don't want you to tie me tight, but do it anyway.
Yeah, right.
I can't watch.
We'll just start with this arm here, Sandra.
I'm just getting started.
No, but I just want to start with this one. There's a reason.
All right.
Because just like me being tied up starts with 1 knot. Hold on. 1 knot first, 1 knot. Addiction starts with 1. 1 knot, 1 drink, 1 puff, 1 injection. That's where the road to addiction starts. Alright, now you just have free reign to, like I said, I don't want you to tie me tight, but do it anyway. Because really, that's what addiction does to lives. Is no addict wants to be tied up tightly, but the ropes of addiction will bind tightly. They won't bind in comfortable ways. Okay, now you can just free rein. You can use toys to tie knots together, get them tight if you like. Like I said, I don't want you to tie me tight, but do it anyway.
I'm going to explain this in church tomorrow. Thank you.
And I still have some movement in this arm. Probably do something like that. Like I said, I want you to find me in a comfortable position, but don't do it.
Oops, what do we got here? All right, come on.
You're being a lot kinder than I expected.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
My pleasure.
Like I said, it starts with 1 knot. My name is Scott Wilson, and I support recovery because nobody should have to go through their life bound like this. And that's what addictions does to us. My own story, or at least part of it, is I grew up in a home with 2 alcoholic parents. From a young age, I saw the bondage. I didn't recognize it or understand it at the time, but I knew there was something there, and I saw the bondage that my parents were in to alcohol. I knew at a young age, far too young of an age, that if the bottle ran out, it wasn't going to be a pleasant time in the house. going to be unrest and anger and upset, often directed towards my father from my mother. As I grew older, I realized and I was able to see that they were in the bondage of their addiction. What it took me far longer in life to see, and what even today I'm coming to terms and to grips with, is that their addiction also put bonds on me. I wasn't an alcoholic, but their alcoholism, their addiction, put bondage on me that even today at 42 years old, I'm still working to untie the knots and be free from. I carry a guilt with me that I'm dealing with and working out, that once I was old enough and I had my driver's license, every night, as soon as I could, when supper was over, I was out of the house and gone. But where my guilt lies is that I was leaving my baby brother there, 5 years younger than me. And I didn't realize it until he had the courage to say it to me a few years ago, that I was able to escape dealing with it for a few hours a day, but he wasn't. And that's when I really started realizing how somebody else's addiction can place bonds and bondage on somebody who isn't the addict. I lived in a small community in Nova Scotia. Not a lot of apartments for rent on the Eastern Shore of Nova Scotia, so when I finished high school, I continued living at home for a while. Partly because there's not a lot of apartments, and also because I was the peacekeeper in the house. I was the one person in the house who could distract some of the anger so that it didn't build to such a level, either when the alcohol ran out or when it flowed too freely. In those days, 19, early 20s, I came close to my own addiction to alcohol at times. I had a thirst for it that was far too great. And I look back with eyes that now see the danger of the road I dabbled with when I'd start my day by spinning the top off a bottle of rum and having a drink to start my day. And I thank God today that I didn't fall into and travel that road of addiction myself. I spent 20 years as a volunteer firefighter between 2 different provinces. I spent 12 years as a paramedic. I've seen so many lives tied up in the bonds, tied up in the bondage. Some who saw it on themselves and some who knew they were tied, and others who denied they were tied, even though they knew it, and still others who didn't see that they were on the road starting to wrap themselves in the ropes. The lives I saw being confined and bound ranged from the elderly, 80s and 90s, addicts, not just alcohol. And I start there because it's a far sadder thing in some ways. The younger end I saw the addictions on. Young teens starting in addictions already. Alcohol, drugs, and what's so often becoming the new drug, pornography. Do you know that pornography is online pornography is now cited in over 50% of divorce cases as one of the reasons why the divorce is happening. It's just another way for addiction to wrap the bonds on and tie people. The bondage hurts, but it feels familiar. The longer the person lies in their addiction, the more normal the bonds become. And like I said, I didn't have my own travel that road of addiction myself, but I have at least an idea of the bondage from being raised by addicts. And something that I've learned is that just as it takes one to start the road to addiction, it also only takes one to start leaving the addiction. One choice to not pour that next drink. One choice not to light up a joint. One choice not to drop a hit of acid. One choice not to take that pill. One choice not to shoot something into your body. And with that one choice, you start a road out of the bondage. And as you go to that road out of the bondage, something that's so important to remember is, while I might have a chance of escaping these bonds myself, my chances are going to be much greater if I allow and seek out people who will draw alongside me, who will come close to me, who will support me, and who will help me untie the bonds. If I seek out people who I can have in my life, who will help me when I want to tie another knot on, and I seek them out, that they'll help me not retie a knot, so that I can remain free from the bonds. There's power in numbers. There's a number of different organizations here today that will share with you ways that they will help support you, ways that they will come alongside you and help you to untie some knots and to help you keep from tying knots tight again. But they'll all tell you they need you to do part of the work. The hardest work's going to be on your part. But they'll come alongside you, they'll support you, and they'll do everything they can to keep you from placing yourself into the bondage again. I'm Scott Wilson, and I support recovery because nobody should have to live their life in bondage. Thank you.